the more struggles you've been through in life,
Mm-hmm.
the more you have empathy for others and
Mm-hmm.
you can see things differently.
Yeah.
And the people who haven't been through all the things that I've been through, I used to be super jealous of and
Right.
envious and be like, you're so lucky. And now I look at them and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you didn't have to go through all that.
Mm-hmm. Before we get into today's episode, I want to make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you don't want to miss any content that's being dropped, make sure you hit that notification bell as well. I also want to know who are the people you want to hear from on this show and what topics would you like me to continue to cover. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, the podcast where we debunk the eat less, move more, shrink more mentality and focus on what really matters, including your relationship with yourself, body, food, and creating behaviors surrounding that. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, personal trainer, and nutrition coach. And today we have my fabulous friend, Miss Lisa Moore, personal stylist, makeup artist to the stars, and so many other people, philanthropist, and all of that. So you guys are in for a treat because Lisa just brings a different perspective in regards to confidence and beauty and all of the things, but has her own story to share. Lisa is a mother of 2 daughters, beautiful daughters, and is a native to Arizona. She's a well-known personal stylist, makeup artist, motivational speaker, mental health advocate, and philanthropist. Her passion is to help others feel and look their best. Lisa is involved in many charities and nonprofits, including Make-A-Wish, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, the Arizona Cancer Foundation for Children, and many more. And she recently won the 2023 Visionary of the Year Award. She is really, when you think of a superhero, that is who my friend is, and she does it in the best clothes. So, welcome everyone, my friend Lisa.
Thank you.
More, we did it. We're doing it.
How did you do all that so perfectly?
I do this a lot. I mean, okay, so the gal that was just on before, we were talking about how she was talking about finding your passion and your purpose. She goes, ask your friends, like, what were you made fun of in school? And I was like,
God.
talking. Like, I would always get that on my report card.
And that's the crazy thing that I talk about when I go to high schools and talk to young girls. And like all the things you're getting bullied for now and all the things that you hate about yourself right now, you're going to love when you're my age.
Right.
Or they're the things that you get the most compliments on. And they're like, so what did you get bullied for? I got bullied for being very thin.
Mm-hmm.
I got bullied for my eye shape. I have an almond Asian eye.
Yeah.
Part Japanese.
Yeah.
So I got totally teased for that. Chickmunk cheeks for days. Now I'm asked, like, do you get fillers? Or
Yeah.
all that. And when people compliment my eyes, I still have a hard time taking the compliment because I still hear those younger kids making fun of my eyes. But now all the things that I grew up not loving about myself, I've embraced as an adult. It just comes with getting older.
Right.
And appreciating that you're alive and healthy.
Right.
So,
and unique.
Yeah.
I used to get this is hilarious. I think I've shared this on the pod. I used to get made fun of for being muscular.
Oh, yeah. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called me China, like the wrestler.
Yeah.
And I was a dancer. So, imagine I wasn't like doing roids, like shooting myself in the ass with testosterone.
Hold on a second.
Yeah. In between glasses and my cheer skirt. No.
Just mean.
I know.
And we grew up, thankfully, when the social media wasn't a thing.
God.
Podcasts weren't a thing.
Thank you,
Instagram,
Jesus.
Cell phones weren't a thing. Like our information was the TV guys.
Right. And like
and
fitness magazines.
Magazine when you go to the grocery store and like gossip when you're at school, you didn't take it necessarily home with you, or now they're just it's awful.
Right. Well, and you have daughters that, they're not, they grew up like, did they even know anything other than a world
Not
with,
really, no.
because they were so young when it wasn't around.
They don't remember when it wasn't around, but I also made sure that they didn't have it too young. And I also made sure that I monitored it, and there were rules there. I had to be very involved. I had to accept who was following them, who they were following, what they were posting, all eyes all the time. It was a great way to see what their friends were posting.
Right.
And
looking
at tag photos and videos. And I'm like, okay, now I know which friends I need to also maybe mentor.
Right.
Or who need
I love that actually.
or like who might need,
Yeah.
some guidance in some way,
I love that.
or who's struggling.
Right. Because
Mhm.
I remember being in high school and I was very like boy crazy and like hypersexualized from things that I went through that
Yeah.
no one knew about.
Mhm.
But I remember a teacher like shaming me instead of, and I think about it now and I was like, oh my gosh, no one could look at that and be like, she needs a mentor. She
Mhm.
needs something's going on
Something's going
here.
on for this.
Right. And for you, I love that about you. Literally, I want to like message that teacher and be like, did you not realize
Yeah.
that I was going through some shit? And so were my friends, because all of my friends like were so boy crazy and like had all the different boyfriends. And I don't even know why you would even bring that up to a 14, 15-year-old, or I think it was like
look at it
17.
like you're just a teenager, hormones, and they don't think about the deeper rooted issue. And also, when we grew up, we didn't talk about mental health. We didn't talk about anxiety, depression, and the things that now are forefront, and thankfully people are focusing on more now. And back when we grew up, it was like, suck it up.
Yeah, yeah. What's wrong with you?
Don't cry.
Yeah,
you're with you.
You're like, you're the problem.
You're the problem. Get over it.
Right. It's funny because we were talking about how kids these days like don't drink very much. And I go, yeah, because they're all medicated. We weren't.
Well, I didn't drink growing up.
Yeah.
I barely drink
I.
now. But you're right. A lot of them are medicated and they can't drink with it. But also, I think a lot of health conscious things too, and they're in therapy. And back, I remember going to high school. It's like everybody's like, we're gonna go party, and everybody wanted to get drunk and just drink. And I think I went to one party in high school.
Yeah.
And I never went to another one after that.
This is not for me.
This is not my scene.
I went to parties, but I was a designated driver. So it was funny. I was just thinking about this last night, I think it was, how I would stay up later than my friends. Like some of my friends were doing drugs and like, and I was just sober Sally, staying up, partying with everyone else, making out with boys. Because again,
well, you and I can have fun without drinking. We've gone out together. Right. And one misperception about myself is people think because I love to dance, because I was a dancer too.
Yep.
I love to dance.
Shout out. All my friends are dancers.
So at galas or events, just in general, or weddings, I'm on the dance floor right away. I love dancing. I can have a really great time without drinking. And sometimes people will be like, oh, she must have had a lot to drink. And I'm like, you can have fun and let loose and be free spirited without having to have alcohol. And half the time in a picture, when it looks like I'm carrying alcohol, it's not alcohol, or it is, and it's just me holding it because it's handed to me before the photo. And I never want it to make it such an awkward conversation. So it's funny.
No, it's been a lot of fun for me to be kind of soberish. I went to Mexico to Rocky Point this weekend, and it was the first time I actually had some drinks, and I had like one here, one there, and I had a great time, So I just talked about that.
Correct. Now that we're older, it's not as it's not as fun. The hangovers and stuff and headaches, and it's not worth it.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Just it's like two friends, just having a chat. So speaking of high school, I know your story, but if you could share whatever you feel comfortable sharing about like your experience growing up, obviously from being a dancer, body image, and the struggles that you had growing up.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So
I'll
keep it short. And
give us the Cliff's Notes.
Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
So thankfully, my grandmother put me in dance and gymnastics to take my mind.
What studio did you go to?
I went to Arizona Aerials.
Okay.
And Dance Connection briefly. And it was, a lot of it through high school and stuff. And I loved choreographing like you.
Yeah.
It was my outlet because I didn't have an outlet. So growing up, I was a tomboy. I was not the nicest kid because of what I went through. There's a lot of abuse, substance, mental, physical, emotional, sexual abuse that happened to me as a child. And it made me really hard and not open. And so it protected me. And then on top of the bullying, and no one really knew me. I wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to have anybody call my house. I couldn't go to the mall and hang out. I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend. Couldn't wear makeup. My grandmother was like, you can't even curl your hair, shave your legs. Like, she was so strict. And I think it was her way of also trying to protect me as well. But when you're younger, you don't see that. And when I was taken away from my mom, I moved in with my grandmother, and that was like third grade. And I stayed with my grandmother till about my freshman year. And then I wanted to try a relationship with my mom, moved in with my mom, had to switch. I went from Apollo to Trevor G. Brown.
Okay. Like for those who are listening that are another.
That was a huge, I'm glad that it happened now. It was the scariest days of my life. I had to leave Apollo middle of my freshman year and start Trevor Brown the second part of my year. And I already thought life was hard. And then I go to Trevor Brown and I was like, oh my gosh, they hated me. Like,
you guys, think about like the movie Criminal Minds. That's what Trevor Brown is.
It was so segregated by race. It was so sad. It was just a very cruel environment. A lot of catcalling from the guys, and a lot of the girls wanted to kill you, like threatening to kill you, stab you, shoot you, would walk behind you, throw things at you, cuss at you, call you the most worst names. So I had to ditch 3 classes, hide in the bathroom. I wouldn't even eat my lunch because I was scared to death to like go to the cafeteria.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the following year I went back to Apollo, but I had to take 3 city buses just to get there back and forth each way.
Wow.
And I refused to not go to school. I was the first person on my mom's side of the family to go to graduate high school.
Wow.
And so for me, it's like, I need to accomplish this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever I have to do it. And then I ended up getting emancipated from my mom and became a legal adult. My boyfriend I was seeing at the time, his family offered to take me in so I'd have a home, and I did, and started working and finished school, and then got married and had my 2 beautiful daughters in my 20s. And then unfortunately, marriage did not work out, but we are friends and we have the most beautiful daughters. And I thank God every day for that, because I always tell my daughters they saved me. They gave me purpose in my life. And I knew at a young age I wanted to be a mom. Like, that's all I wanted. I didn't care about my career. I didn't know what my life was going to be. And I just knew I wanted to be a mom, and a good mom, and give my kids all the love and emotional support that they need that I did not get growing up.
Right.
And thankfully they get that. They're the best.
They're amazing.
They're like such good human beings, and I'm so beyond proud of them. They're in the Caribbean right now, living their best life.
I love that.
With dolphins and
getting their hair braided.
And they're doing all the things that they should be doing at their age, and they're living their life at the age they should be living it at their age. My oldest is 23.
Right.
I was married, pregnant with her.
Right.
And I look at her and I'm like, how?
Right.
But also at 23, I was really like almost 40.
Correct.
Internally, mentally, because of how strong I had to be growing up. And dance was another huge outlet. You know, it gave me something to focus on. My high school dance teacher saw that I needed help. Because
the lady who said that to me was my high school dance teacher.
Really? She said it. She knew I needed help, but without there being like a deep conversation. You know, she knew I was very tiny. I had bruises. And I always wanted to stay after school to choreograph. She also then noticed I'd be wearing the same clothes sometimes. Or I asked to keep the keys so I could lock up after I left. And the reason I would do that is because I didn't want to take 3 city buses home to go home to a mom passed out on her bed and having to deal with all that abuse.
Right.
And then have to worry about getting back to school the next day. So I would just stay in my dance room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm going to cry. So it's okay. She had a little room, and she always had like granola bars and things, and she knew, but she, without talking about it, because I think she didn't want to get in trouble. So she knew, but it wasn't an open conversation.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that she knew and she was okay with it, and she was willing to let me do what I needed to do meant a lot. And no one in school knew. You know, they just assumed I stayed and choreographed and came back the next day really early.
Yeah.
You know. And
it's beautiful.
It's a different world. And dance was like, I would just play music and just choreograph and then
get it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you talked to her?
No, I have not. And I've looked for her everywhere, and I have not been able to find her. And I've asked a few people, no one knows what, like, she was older too. So, but what's ironic now is I go to my high school.
Right.
I went there for the first time, was it 2 or 3 years ago? For the first time in almost 30 years. My 3rd-year reunion is next year. Well, that's just a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I'm going to go looking great.
Yeah, you are.
I did back then. And the first time I walked on that campus, though, it was like all those feelings came back to me and I just lost it. But I also felt like a big weight off my shoulders because back then I was definitely not the person I am now. So then fast forward getting into the dance room and standing on the floor and looking in the mirror, and the room just felt so much smaller. It didn't feel as scary. And I looked in that mirror and I was just like, look at who you are now. Think about, I remember looking in that mirror at my freshman through senior year and hating my body,
Right.
hating my life, hating how I looked, not thinking I was going to have a great life and that I want to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson.
I mean, didn't we all?
Paula Abdul, like that was,
Yeah.
I thought that's what I was going to do. It did not work out. So, Janet, Paula.
Listen, Janet, we're here for your geriatrics tour.
For the nation. I literally cried at her concert when I went 2 years ago because it's the first time I got to see her in person. And as soon as she came out, I just started bawling because her music was so influential to us growing up. It's what we danced to. And Rhythm Nation, all those songs that played Love Goes, like all her versions of herself. And I remember Pleasure Principle.
Yeah. I on my like feel good music playlist is like If. Oh yeah. Girl. So empowering.
It is. And so music is it is really therapy. And I think that's why a lot of dancers do it too.
Yeah. I say if I didn't have dance, like I probably would have been an addict. I would have gotten in a lot of trouble.
That's like athletes in general. It keeps them focused on grades in school and staying out of the riffraff and trouble so that they can get their scholarships.
Yeah.
And play professional if they want.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm mentoring she's a social worker who's also a personal trainer, and she wants to blend like I have in the program, but she was a dancer her whole life. And she had talked about it yesterday. She said, in life now, I still have this concept. I've got to leave it all on the floor and it has to be perfect, and we worked through that. It was just so profound. Like, wow, like that, there's a part of that that's so healthy of like striving for your best and wanting to always do well and being very motivated. But then also on the other side, that like comparison and perfection and needing to look a certain way. And, with Michaela Foss, I just interviewed her. She danced professionally, and she said you would walk into a room and you would stand in line and they'd be like, no, yes, no, yes. Yeah. And if you don't have rejection, right, there is a lot of rejection. How did you handle that? Like because I know growing up in that environment, our bodies, how we look, we try to present like, if I look okay, there's nothing to see here.
Right.
If I look a certain way and the standard, this ideal that I create in my head, then you're not going to get a peek into my weakness or my shame. Right. How is that for you with everything?
It's very true because I have to look the part all the time with my job. I have to be put together. I have to be dressed nice. My hair, makeup, everything needs to be, I feel like perfect all the time. It's very high standards because of my job. But I also felt like that at a young age, being a dancer. And then I modeled to help pay my way while I was in high school to then live at my ex house. So it was, I remember I didn't know how to do makeup.
That's so funny.
And this is funny because this is why I decided to do makeup. And part of this story is I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know how to make myself look that way. I look at pictures from back then, my head is down because I didn't want to look at the camera. And I look sad. And when I see those pictures, it makes me sad because I wasn't smiling. My head's down. I didn't feel like I looked like the other girls. And I was not as tall as some of the other models too. And we go on called. And I remember like, you need to start wearing makeup. And I'm like, I have lip gloss and mascara on. And they're like, that's not enough. Like you need to go to a makeup counter. They said, go to Clinique.
I remember this story.
And have someone teach you how to do your makeup. And I just made like $800 doing a hair show for like Vidal Sassoon or something like that back in the day. And so I thought I was rich. Like I was
classic.
So rich. And,
like, did you ever do the mall, like fashion shows?
Yes.
Cousin Tanya.
I did all fashion shows.
Oh my gosh.
I made it. I thought I would made it big when I was in Robinson's May catalog. That was like,
my
peak.
But I think I would have that like in my office in a frame.
So stupid.
No, it's not. I wasn't in a Robinson's May catalog.
Metro Mall was the mall.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right? That was the mall to go to. And I took the city bus to Metro Center Mall and went to, I think it was Macy's. I think it was Rame or Macy's, one of them. And I went to the Clinic counter. And I'm walking around, and the girls are just kind of side-eyeing me, looking me up and down and turning their heads and continuing to have a conversation. And I was just like picking things up, like trying to get someone to approach me. None of them would. So finally, I got the courage.
That's nice.
To be like, hey, can you help me? And they're like, who's this chick?
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you need? What do you want to get?
I interrupt this episode to ask you some questions. Have you felt like your body is not your own? Do you look at jeans and think that they're someone else's? You forget words that your 3-year-old can spell? Do you feel like you're crying in the parking lot and then snapping at your partner? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel like fat is moving in different parts of your body? Do you just feel off? If you do, I'm here to tell you, if you're over the age of 35, it could very, very well be perimenopause. And you'll go to the doctor, get your testing done, and they'll say, well, you still have your period, so everything is fine, but you don't feel fine. I get it. I had a hysterectomy at 35, kept my ovaries thinking that wouldn't push me into perimenopause, but it did exactly that. It did that 4.5 years earlier than I would have gone into it, and I just felt off. Headaches, brain fog, irritation, and you're not alone. You are not broken. But the problem is we try to use the same things that helped us lose weight in our 30s and 20s, and they're not working anymore. Why? Because estrogen and progesterone, testosterone even are off. They're different. It doesn't mean it's bad. This is a transition that every single woman in this world will go through. However, what is bad is using old worn out methods instead of having a method that actually works. Introducing the mindset of menopause. This 16-week program is designed based in research and science as well as psychology to help you work through the main struggles of perimenopause. I'm going to teach you evidence-based approaches to nutrition, exercise, nervous system regulation and emotional management, sleep, sexual health, gut health, and so much more. In this 16 weeks, we have a weekly group coaching call, and every month we are going to meet one-on-one to design your game plan. On top of that, I'm going to have a completely new psychological curriculum based in what women struggle with going through this transitional period. Body image issues, boundary issues, really just emotional and stress management because life gets really lifey on top of hormones changing. On top of that, you'll get access to our community forum so you can be with like women who will say, hey, I'm here, I'm with you, we can do this together. This 16-week program is designed to be unlike any other program because it does incorporate the psychology, the physiology, the emotionality of what you're going through. So if you are interested, please check out the show notes to sign up for a clarity call so we can talk about what your goals are, what your symptoms are, and I can give you a game plan. This call will provide you with all of the information that you need, and then you can decide if the Mindset of Menopause is the program for you. Now, back to the show.
And it was very like, and I was like, I need help with makeup. I need foundation. I just need to start looking better. I'm going on these casting calls. I'm trying to be a model and like all this stuff. And she's like, oh, well, just, you need this kind of a thing. And I just like, you know what? Never mind. Walked away, took the city bus home crying, went to Walgreens.
Listen.
And just picked up CoverGirl and was like, this looks like And I remember the makeup artist who did my makeup for one of my photo shoots. Her name was Tina, and she was beautiful, and she was dating Slash at the time. So I just thought she was like God. And full she circle, had dark hair.
Yeah.
Another full circle moment. Yeah. Right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
She had dark hair like mine, brown eyes, but she had this most beautiful plumish, kind of like what I'm wearing now, lipstick. And so I tried to mock her look. It didn't know. They were like, who taught you that? I was like, no one would help me. I had to do it myself. Like I just went to the store and she felt so bad. And I was just like, I did it myself. No one would help. It was like Pretty Woman, you know? So fast forward, I start working into the bridal rep area after that. And I'm the bridal registry lady in some of the department stores, registering people when they get married. And they asked me if I'd work at Clinique. And the store manager, Janet, was like, we want to put you at Clinique. We think you'd be great in cosmetics. And I was like, me? What? So again, it's someone seeing something in someone that they don't see in themselves, and mentoring them and pushing them in the direction that they see where they have value and where they could be successful. So that's another person in my mind that I think of, because I would never have gone into cosmetics probably. if it weren't for her seeing something in me. So ironically, I was registering a couple at PV Mall the next day, met the manager, Leah, and she had a little goodie bag with samples for me. And they offered me a job after interviewing, and I turned it down originally. I was like, I don't know anything about makeup. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to do it. I want to learn how to look better. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup growing up.
My job.
But now it's my job.
Right.
And no one can tell me no, because even my ex-husband didn't like when I wore makeup. Because if I did it, he thought I was trying to impress someone else, which wasn't the case. Again, that's another misconception about makeup. Like a lot of times as women, we're wearing it because it makes us feel good. It's like putting on a pretty shoe or even undergarments. You just instantly feel prettier or sexy or whatever. And you're not doing it to impress anyone, but to make yourself feel better.
Right.
And so then I took the job and I self-taught back then we had no Instagram and
YouTube.
social media and YouTube. We were the experts. I had to wear the white smock and everybody came to us wanting to learn how to do their makeup. And then MAC opened up in our store and I was like, I'm done, because I saw the colors. All the girls were so beautiful. Their makeup was so elaborate.
Yeah.
But then my clients who love me doing their makeup were like, can you go grab MAC's makeup and put it on me? So then MAC is like, who's this girl using our makeup on her clients? And then that's how I started my career with MAC.
Wow.
Because then they recruit me. So you just never know.
I love that. I love that you were able to just emphasize those folks who helped support you along the way and recognizing like, wow, like because I see you as that person for so many people, and there are going to be people, hundreds of people that share their story, and you're a part of that.
I hope so.
No,
and I don't do it.
It's gonna happen.
And I don't do it to get that. And I know they didn't do it for that. And they probably don't even know how much that moment means to me now. And then when Leah, my manager, left Clinique, I was like, I want to be the manager. And they're like, you're too young. It's $1 million counter. You don't have the experience. And so she left. And while they were interviewing for about 3 months, I acted like I was the manager.
Love it.
We had a counter remodel. We had a gift with purchase, which back then was a really big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And all these things. And I remember them calling me upstairs to the office, and they had cake and balloons and surprised me. And they're like, you earned it. You did the work.
That's amazing.
And it's like, that's one thing that's always stuck with me is like, I've always had that mentality of like, if I want something, I'm going to make it happen and do it. And I think that's one thing that's missing in our society is like the power of believing in yourself and manifesting what you want. And I just had this conversation with someone the other day about how I manifested certain things to come in my life. I remember thinking, oh my God, I wish I could work with Arizona Cardinal cheerleaders. They're so beautiful, because I wanted to be one. Yeah. And now I do. I remember being like watching someone on TV being like, oh, I want to do that. And now I do. Or this. I mean, there's so many things that we as young girls and now women have, and things we still want to do. And it's like, I just don't want to settle and not live my life purposely. And
I love that. You know, it's interesting that I truly believe that girl who had to figure out a bus system to get to school.
How did they do that?
Right. Well, because you have fucking grit.
Like,
I'm
like, how do I even know what bus to get on?
Right.
I don't remember.
You figured it out.
Because we didn't have GPS and cars. Like, how did
you figured it out? And like through our trauma, I want to say we have a choice, but we do.
We do.
We can sit and be a victim and the martyr and the person who just, this is what happened to me. So that's all that is, it's going to define who I am.
Right.
Or, and this is a sense of like codependency where we create this hyper independence. Like we'll figure it out. You know, we're going to figure it out. But there's a part of that, if we don't take it to the extremes, that creates that grind and that grit and that motivation and that ability to say, I can do it. If I at 14 could figure out the bus system, create this idea in my head, like, I'll just tell the teacher that I'm going to lock up and then just stay, like just that forward thinking, that's where that comes from. And if you lead, and I'm not trying to put down people who had relatively healthy upbringings, but there's a superpower in what we go through.
I feel like the more struggles you've been through in life, the more you have empathy for others and you can see things differently.
Yeah.
And the people who haven't been through all the things that I've been through, I used to be super jealous of,
right?
And envious and be like, you're so lucky. And now I look at them and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you didn't have to go through all that. Because I don't wish that on anyone.
Right.
but it's my life. And one of the things I say to all the young girls in high schools, and I'm like, you have the power to say yes or no. You have the ability to go, I don't want to do this. I want to do this instead. Just because of where you come from doesn't mean that's what defines you. And that's one of my biggest things that I talk about. And when I'm in those rooms talking to sometimes 50 up to 500 students, one time I was like, mortified. They put me in the auditorium, put me on a stage and had a microphone. I was like, what is this? So I got off the stage. I'm standing there and the doors open. It's like a floodgate came in. It was all the kids of all the schools because the principal, who was a former Cardinal cheerleader, told them I was coming to speak and what my topic was. And the counselors were in there. Everybody was in there to listen. I'm just drinking my water, swallowing it quietly. I was just like, oh my God. And as boys and girls, it was all girls.
That's awesome.
And dance classes have boys in them now too. So like Apollo, there are guys. So I have to figure out how I'm going to relate to them and I'm not think I'm boring. So I talk a little NFL.
I love it.
Or whatever will get their attention. They always want to know, like, they're always so fixated on status. And I think that in my role, it's all about status. My job, and I love my job, but it is very superficial.
Real quick, just so you went from Mac, that's where we met.
Oh yes, that's where we met. Yes.
She did my makeup for my birthday, and then from there you went over to Saks and Guerlain.
So
Guerlain, what is it called?
Guerlain.
Thank you.
So I left Mac for a lot of different reasons. I had so many experiences. I was a manager of the #1 counter at Dillard's and managed about 30 employees, loved it, learned so much, had the best experiences working with celebrities, fashion shows, doing all the
toot your horn. Who are some of those celebrities? Can you say?
I mean, Steven Tyler is probably my favorite,
which is that full circle
which
moment.
is that first circle moment. And he was lovely, but I've worked with so many, like I've helped so many celebrities over the years with makeup, but now it's more styling. And those are the ones I do keep private. I work with a lot of athletes. A lot of local celebrities come into town or that are traveling while they're in town for different things. And I just get them ready and I never post it. I don't take pictures with them. I don't ask for anything other because they respect and trust me. Yeah. And it's not what defines me as a stylist and a person. I don't feel like I need to promote that all the time. For me, it's more about who I am as a person and what I do in the community. And my clients, I have a lot of them become my friends. I love that. And they love me and trust me. They trust me with their children, their husbands, and their homes. Their card information. Like it's a very big deal to have that bond and relationship with clients. Absolutely. And I love what I do, but like I was saying, it's a very superficial job. It's about what you're wearing, where you're going, who you know, and how many followers you have. And those are the things that
you're oftentimes compared to everyone there.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I also got out of the beauty industry was because I found, I was doing makeup for 25 years. I was one of the top in the Valley, well known for doing it because I was on TV and magazines, and I've been local for a long time and just doing it a long time. Right. And I hired and trained a lot of the up and coming ones who are now, some of them are even famous. Right. And
you went to Chanel. That's when you left.
I left. I was with Chanel for 10 years, and I love Chanel, and they were great to me, but I wanted to have more personalized time and attention with my clients and not just to be about beauty and aesthetics, but full body. Right. And so when I was at Mac, I also worked at Nordstrom for a while, and there is where we were allowed to start selling clothes and shoes. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I had my own body confidence issues. Right. Like I didn't know what looked best on me. And so it taught me like body shapes and the importance of not having to like constantly tug and feel like uncomfortable. And I go to events and I look at myself compared to other people and I'm like, oh my God, I can't afford that, or I don't look like that, or I wish I had that. And so it's changing that mindset for myself. And now I'm doing that for my clients and friends. And it's really empowering because I'm in a room with them with a mirror while they're trying on clothes, talking them off of a mental breakdown sometimes, some of them. But when I leave my room, and I see them post their photos and they look so beautiful and put together and confident and they feel great. And it's everything from everyday jeans to t-shirts. I have stay-at-home moms to CEOs, celebrity, like it's all, It's all over the spectrum and budgets as well. And
Right.
I work with everybody, treat them all the same, no matter how much they spend,
Right.
what they're buying, what they're wearing, and that I'm doing now what I wish people would have done for me when I needed their help.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my biggest inspirations was my friend Nancy. She worked with me at Nordstrom. She was the head personal stylist there in the beauty department.
Mm-hmm.
And she fronted me my first day there and became such a good friend. She was like an aunt to my daughter. She came to their birthday parties. And sadly, she passed away unexpectedly after a surgery, her appendix surgery. She just got married 6 months prior. But the thing about her was she was an angel.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew who she was.
Mm-hmm.
So we connected because she was just such a sweet person. And it was the first time I met someone who I felt like had the same heart as I did.
Wow.
When it came to like our jobs and like just genuineness.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people would walk up looking for her. Everybody knew who she was. And she had this curly big hair. It's so beautiful. Wore a lot of blush. I always try to soften it.
Mm-hmm. And, you're like, come here.
And she was so pretty. And the thing with her was that stuck out to me is not just everybody knowing who she was. Everybody wanted to spend time with her.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wanted to support her in her job. She knew their names, their husband's names, their kids' names, their ages, their sizes, like everything about her clients. And she inspired me without even knowing it. And I never really got the chance to tell her that.
No.
And after she passed, they tried to get me to take her job.
Oh, wow.
And I wouldn't.
Mm.
I had to call her friends that were clients and tell them what happened. I had to be the one that when they come in the store looking for her to tell them, or they look at me because they saw her and I were so close. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to rehash the story over and over again. So that ended up being one of the reasons why I left there and decided to start my own thing and start a whole new thing with Saks. And now I've been at Saks 11 years.
It's crazy.
And and I love it.
Yeah.
The body positive part of it is like so crucial.
Right.
In this role.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. Cause I know obviously you keep your clients confidential, but we do share stories of, someone coming in and maybe that size of that dress is a size that they don't feel good in. And you're right there. You're in the most vulnerable times for a lot of women is in the freaking dressing room. Yeah, and you're right there with them.
Changes.
Right.
I would, so many of them
aging,
menopause,
right?
Going into, and divorce, or they're meeting someone new. I have a lot of clients right now whose kids are graduating, going off to college, and they're empty nesters.
Right.
So I'm a part of every good, great, and sad day of their lives. Mm-hmm. I've dressed people from funerals to weddings.
Yeah. Wow.
And it is a very vulnerable spot. And you have to know how to articulate to someone when they're struggling or it's not best for them. I have so many clients who are fixated on a size. I could pick up a 000, never have to try it on because I was like this.
Right.
Now it's like I fluctuate. My weight fluctuates. I have Hashimoto's. My thyroid doesn't work. I have, I'm 47 years old, so I can gain 10 pounds like that by eating gluten and dairy in one meal.
Right.
So I'm mindful of what I eat. I intermittent fast. I drink a lot of water, up to my protein, limit my carbs. I know what works for my body. What works for me may not work for you.
Right.
And it's the same thing with clothing for people too.
On top of that, I think that the industries have given into the insecurities more and more with sizing.
Yeah. And so one thing I will say is there's a lot of brands that I sell and work with directly, and they are more inclusive with sizing.
That's nice.
We don't just carry 0 to 4s and 6s, but the majority of my clients truly are 8 to 12. And there's some who are like, I should be a 4, but they're really an 8, but they'll buy a 4. Then they'll take it home because they won't try it on there and be so upset. And that's not what I want.
Right.
So for me, what I've been doing is I don't tell them the size they're trying on. I don't even let them look at it if I can. If they're buying it and I know it's going to be fixated in their head, I will be like, I'm sharpening out the size or cutting out the tag.
Love it.
It's about what fits you. So when I do closet clean outs, because that's another thing that I do, it's like letting go of things that used to fit you. The hopeful, I might fit in again someday, or they're tied to a piece because it's a memory,
right? That's
taking up space, and it could be a bad memory. We all have things that we look at in our homes and it triggers something, and it's not always positive. It's like, why am I keeping this?
Right.
There's several things that I've been letting go of in my life. a mirror that I had in my home, every home up until now. I didn't put it in my new house I built. I kept it in the garage and I gave it to someone else.
Oh.
It was the first thing I bought myself when I got my first bonus back at PV Mall as a manager. And it was in every house. And I was like, this is a fresh beginning, a new start. But I always had memories tied to that mirror and past relationships and homes and experience. And I'm like, this is a new era.
Yeah.
Let it go. And so that's how I talk to my clients about their bodies and sizes. I'm like, it's not like, we just have to love who we are. And at the same time, buy pieces that fit us now.
Right.
Because of weight fluctuations, or a lot of them are on the shot or doing different things too. And it's like a yo-yo. And so I'm like, you need to have sometimes things in all sizes, several sizes. I have things from 4 to 10 in my closet.
Same.
I bought a dress in a size 10 like 2 weeks ago. Never in a million years did I think I would have to wear a size 10. And it did bother me.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, the 8 was too tight here. I like the length of this better. Like, why does it matter? If it fits me, it shouldn't matter. And so it's like that mindset of like, if it fits and I'm not tugging, I'm not pulling, I look good in it. It doesn't matter what size it is. And everything's made smaller.
Right.
Like a size, what's now a 4 is, it's like a 0.
It's crazy because like at Express, for example, like I was fitting into like a size 2 and everywhere else I was a size 6. And I was like, oh, look at me, I'm a size 2. But I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
It's just cut in fabric and everybody's sizing is different. So that's why I tell people don't get fixated on the sizes, just like this, like you first, the scale on the number on the scale. Like I don't weigh myself anymore. I used to be fixated and weigh myself every single day. And I give myself such a hard time for gaining even a pound. Because growing up, my thing is she's so tiny. I have the smallest
identity.
waist. So it became my identity as being the girl with the smallest waist and being so tiny. And then now, I mean, that's not the case now. Now that's my daughters. My daughters are so tiny.
And one's into fitness.
Yes. Which I need her to, I want her to come talk to you.
Okay.
They're like me, like my oldest is really tall and really thin and they both have the tiniest waist. And people always are like, oh, your girls are so tiny. Do they eat? Like, do you have eating disorders? And I'm like, no, they don't. But thank you for caring.
Right? Smile. But it's ridiculous.
I feed my children.
Right. Well, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? Like
when you gain weight, people are like, you put on some weight. You lose weight. Oh my God, are you okay? You lost weight. It's like, what do you want from me?
Right.
Like
exactly.
And who's business?
And why does it matter to you? Right.
But it's just a society. And now with social media and even AI has made it so much worse because these women are scrolling and their boyfriends and men too, and holding their women to these standards that are not real, like the Kardashian standards.
Right.
And one of the things that I say when I do mentor coaching at schools is I'm like, imagine, I said, would you want to go to Hawaii if Hawaii looked like Arizona?
No.
Why do you want to go to Hawaii?
Beautiful. It's different. It's tropical.
Exactly. We are as a society starting to all look the same. Same lip, same everything is.
It's so true.
And I saw this image on Instagram actually the other day. It was a young girl who looked very unique and beautiful in her own way, but she's surrounded by all women who look the exact same. Who are doing the same fillers, same this, and it really stuck out to me because I was like, wow, she sticks out. Everybody else blends.
Yeah.
And I would rather stick out and my flaws and my uniqueness be what I celebrate versus try to change.
Yeah.
And one thing that has always stuck with me, and when I share this story with my friends who are also moms too, because I love that my daughters look like me. There is no
identical.
Like anywhere we go, and the best possible thing, I'm the older sister sometimes. But I don't know how much time I have left for that. But
I think they're also getting older, so they're just going to grow together.
I have a friend who's being married, and this was right before I turned, actually right after I turned 40, because there was another part to that story. And she was getting married, and she said to me, my mom got work done before they came into my store. And I could tell by her tone she wasn't happy. Her and her mom were like my daughters, twins, beautiful, beautiful. When they walked in, they no longer look like mom and daughter.
Wow.
because a mom had a lot of work done. She wanted to. It made her feel better. So not judging her for that. So I hope that comes out that way. But she really wanted to get things done. And it was a lot of different things. She looked drop dead gorgeous.
Right.
But she no longer looked like her mom.
Wow.
And she went to the bathroom. And my friend sat in the chair crying, saying, I'm getting married. And she doesn't look like my mom. She's not going to hold my mom in my wedding photos. I don't look like my mom anymore.
Right.
And then that then puts in her head.
That's what I was going to say.
I have to do all these things too to look like that.
Right.
And
if I look like my mom and she's changing it, then that means something about me is wrong.
Yes.
Right.
And I have a friend who was like, she has a neck thing that people are always like, oh, you need to get that taken care of. She's like, no, this looks like someone in my family. And every time I look at her, it reminds me of her.
Aw.
And I was like, I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Because we're so quick to want to like fix everything. And some things I get it. Like I do. And I'm not judging anybody who does those things at all. I see it every day. And I've done, I get Botox in my forehead.
Me too. I need to get it.
So, there's things that we do that make ourselves feel better and we should not be shamed for it. And I would never shame someone for what they do. But that moment of her saying, I don't look like my mom anymore, I was like, wow. Right. I would never want my kids to feel like that. And I know that wasn't her mom's intention. She just wanted to fix what was bothering her.
Right.
As she should. But that's the world we live in. And now with Kris Jenner and her all this face, she looks amazing. She's beautiful. Now she looks just like Kim.
Right.
But I think it just puts so much stress and pressure on us as women. You get a gray hair, got to get covered. And get gray hair lines. They look more dapper.
Yeah.
Some like George Clooney.
There's daddies.
Like we're like so quick to like, fix it. And I'm trying to be better myself about that. And I remember the only reason I started getting Botox was because I was doing this lady's makeup. And she kept looking at me with her one eye open. And I kept telling her closer. She was like, did you get a nose job? And I was like, no, I just have it. I go, no, I never got a nose job. She's like, oh, it's really small. I thought she got it done too small. And I was like, oh, no. My girls have the same nose. Like, I get asked that all the time if I got my nose job.
Yeah, great nose.
It's just tiny. Nothing fits. Like, sunglasses are always like this. I always thought my photographer have a small nose. But now it's like, you got a nose job.
Louise.
And then she goes, did you get fillers in your cheek? And I was like, no. I go, I'm just going to stop you right now. I've never done anything. And this was right before my 40th birthday. And this is when everything was falling off my mom.
Right.
When everything happened. So there was a lot of crying, a lot of sadness. And I just remember looking in the mirror being like, I feel like I've aged so much this last year from being so stressed. And so I was considering doing Botox in my forehead already. Well, then this lady was like, if I were you, we need to start getting all this stuff done before you fall apart. She starts pointing at everything on my face, telling me what she would do and how many units I should get. Yeah.
Like,
and so I was like,
boundaries, people.
I know. I go, do you want me a med spa? Or are you an essence? Like, are you an injector? She's like, no, but I'm just telling you as a woman, like, you should start getting stuff done before you start falling apart. So I thought when I asked her, I said, how old do you think I am? She said 26, 27. So I thought, you know what? When I tell her I'm turning 40, she's going to be apologetic and feel like a jerk.
Yep.
She goes, oh, you really need to get work done.
Oh my gosh.
And
Jeez
so
Louise.
I got Botox right after that and my forehead. But I don't want to, like, I'm very careful about it. Actually, this is the first time I'm talking about it openly. Like, I talk to clients about it. I know if my daughters know that I do it. And, I don't want them, like, it's just not something where it's like,
hey, went to my Botox appointment today.
But I do see a lot of young girls at 16 going to Botox parties.
Really?
Getting their lips done right when they're 18 or other things as graduation gifts.
Right.
Because, again, they want the confidence. And as parents, I want my daughters to feel and look their best. And if they come to me and something's really, really hurting and upsetting them, I'm going to do whatever I need to do. But surgery and certain things, I just wish it wasn't the world we live in, where these stand, like the TikToks of the girls with the figures. And I see what my daughters, especially my youngest, went through with her bullying and her body confidence stuff. It's just like,
It's
It's
a lot.
awful.
Well, it's when we say, okay, we'll get the boob job, the nose job, the whatever, you're reinforcing that again, something is wrong with you and you need to change.
Yeah.
Because even boobs, like the purpose of your breasts are to feed children, right? And we miss that. You know, it's been hypersexualized, which and we have to remember that your breasts have been objectified and sexualized, and then it also then somehow morphed into, if you have like nice boobs, then you're good, right? Or you're pretty.
Yeah.
But that's not necessary, because you know, when you're breastfeeding, your boobs get really big and they hurt. And, you know, because I have plenty of clients that are going through that, and it's
not fun.
Right. Well, and then as 18, while the parents are thinking, oh, this will make her feel more confident, it's like confidence doesn't come from your boobs.
It's not going to fix the root of the problem.
Exactly. And they're missing the mark of parenting. It's kind of like the teachers we were talking about, right? Missing the mark to say, there's something deeper here. Yeah. We're just so easy to slap a label or slap a surgery or whatever it is.
Everybody wants a fix.
Yep.
And sometimes a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been situations where I know people have put things down, and I understand it and I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's times that you see it and you're just like, gosh, you're so young and beautiful and you're not even done growing yet.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we all going to look like in the future? Like now what 40 is what now 70 used to.
Right.
70 now is like 40.
Right. Seriously.
In 10 years.
No.
It's like you look like the Demi Moores and all these women in their 60s and they literally look 40 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then on the opposite, the girls in high school look
40 years old. Have you seen those TikToks where the cosmetic surgeons will look at girls from like Love Island or one of those, and they'll be like, oh, she's got to be 32 and she's 21.
Yeah.
Because of all of the
like 30s because of the fillers and Botox, and they're aging themselves when they do too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's shift gears, because I think, you know, we're talking about kind of how it can go in this negative direction. How do you then use makeup and style, like clothing, to help empower women?
I always focus on this is the hard part. I ask people, like, what do you love about your body?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing makeup, and I still do, but you know, people sit in my chair and they're like, I want to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be an Instagram or a Pinterest photo back in the day.
Right.
It was like one eye and a square.
That was me. Can you do this on me? She's like, no.
And
I could try real hard.
Don't need all that. And so I, as a makeup artist, always try to be the person that would be like, okay, what do you like about yourself? What do you want to bring out, versus sitting in my chair and being like, cover this, hide this, fix this, contour this.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody's nose needs to be contoured.
Right.
Not everybody needs the same thing. And so I focus on if they don't have something, I give them something.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have the most beautiful eyes. Look at these cheeks and these lips and the brows. And I focus on what there's going to be easy for them.
Right.
To then learn to love about themselves.
Mm.
And then it's just teaching and having the right product and knowing what to do to achieve it. Because how many times have I done makeup since like, oh, it never looks like this when I do it. And so
right here,
I try to educate and help, because they watch. I had a lady who was like in her 80s and she came in one day and she's like, I want to do that trend on the Instagram where they like squirt foundation and dots all over and blend with sponges. And I was like, listen, you don't need that.
You just said not everyone needs to contour their nose. I'm like, do I need to contour my nose?
You don't, but it's again, it's a trend. It's like everybody feels like they need the highlight down the center, the dark down the corner.
This way.
Yeah. And it's pretty for the gram. It's pretty for red carpet, celebrities, photo shoots.
I will say on the news, like I feel like I have to put more on when
you have
on
a
the
lot
news.
on you.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends. There's a time and place for everything, right? And makeup. So I've always been the person that I know that people feel like, oh, Lisa's going to make sure I look like the best version of myself and not overdo it, because I listen to what they need. So on weddings, people dread knowing there's a makeup artist there.
I didn't because she did my makeup for my wedding.
Correct. But
it was like my safety net because my hair was.
Have you been a bridesmaid
Mhm.
and in someone else's wedding and they're like, I hired a makeup artist and you have to pay them to do your makeup.
Right.
On top of the dress and everything else.
Mhm.
It's scary to
Very.
trust someone to do your makeup and your hair and you not feel like the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my makeup done hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm.
I've maybe liked it a few times.
Interesting.
Because it's always so much, especially my eyes. Like they always make me look like an Asian anime character.
No, it's like stripes.
I could go straight to Comic-Con and like probably win an award.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like you have to work really hard to be like, okay, how much makeup do you normally wear?
Mm-hmm.
What's your comfort level? Show me a picture of what you're wanting and why. Because if someone says, I want a smoky eye, smoky eye to you is different than what smoky eye is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Smoky eye to a lot of makeup artists like black eyeshadow, black eyeliner
Right.
back in the day.
Right.
And when I worked with Mac, I'd have to train my staff. I'm like, you have to investigate more. Like, what's a smoky eye to you? It could just be eyeliner.
Right.
It
Especially if they're like very natural looking.
It could be more than one eyeshadow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's different. So knowing how to communicate with people, and I can proudly say that in my career doing makeup, it was very, very rare that I had someone who didn't like it.
Yeah.
And the only time, and the time that the person that comes in my head was the mom of a bride, and she wore black eyeshadow up to her eyebrow and white eyeliner and bright red lipstick.
Like normally?
Yes. And her husband never saw her without makeup. She would sleep in her makeup. She'd get up early when she wanted to redo it. And they wanted her to have more of a classic, glam, beautiful look for the wedding photos. So she wouldn't look too dark and heavy in the photos. I did her makeup. All the bridesmaids were like, Nana, you look so beautiful. And she did. She looked like herself, but she also looked she looked so much younger.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. She looked 20 years younger.
Wow.
Because it wasn't so caked on and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell she was just not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like me not getting my eyebrows filled in.
Right.
It'd be like, here, fill these in.
Yeah.
She came back like an hour later to pay me, and she had sunglasses on.
Oh no.
And I could see through the sunglasses from the light that she went back and added her normal makeup to her eyes. And I looked at the bride and I was like, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Again, that's what she loves and what she wants. So you can't tell someone
You've got to do it exactly opposite.
And change them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to respect people and what they want. And in my role as a makeup artist, I have to respect it. It's not about what I want for you. It's about what you want for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not the best, but I will do what I think is the best and make those recommendations. But like I've had prom girls come in, they're like, I want this. And I'm like, okay, what is it about this that you like? And they're like, oh, I like the glitter. They don't want the whole cut crease, the black liquid liner, and the big lashes. They like the glitter.
Right.
So it's like you have to dissect a little bit. And then the same thing with clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, what color do you love? What shape do you like?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to enhance? And I'll have clients text me, especially new ones who are referrals, because I mostly work by a referral.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my clients will get a girlfriend who's like, I'm going on vacation and I need clothes. Go see Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to a gala. I need a dress. Go see Lisa. My son's getting married. Go see Lisa. And they'll text me and they're like, I'm 5'9", no boobs, big hips. I look like Shrek.
Oh.
And then they come in and I'm like, you look like a supermodel.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Like something totally different
Mm-hmm.
and I never want to say, show me a picture of you beforehand.
Right.
Because I know how that feels. Because when I got hired to work with celebrities on concerts and things, what I did not know in Playboy and other things I did for Super Bowl is that they requested a photo of me first. But I didn't know that till later on.
Oh, wow.
And someone told me. She's like, yeah, they made us send a photo of you first. And I was like, that feels so...
It's like a violation.
It just, as a woman, it feels like you had to look a certain part to have that role.
Right.
And I wouldn't have wanted some of those roles had I known her ahead of time.
But
at the same time, I needed those roles to have the experience and the growth. And we've come a long way since then.
Mm-hmm.
I remember working on photo shoots and they wait till it to come here.
Mm.
I'm like, I have a name. I'm not just the makeup artist. Like,
Yeah.
you can be wearing a $10,000 dress and your makeup looks like a mess. That $10,000 dress looks like it's from Shein now.
Right. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's knowing like what fits your body, your face, your features, what's best. And so as a makeup artist and stylist, that's what I focus on. Like, you have these long legs. We're going to show those off. Knowing how to
She's not talking about me.
Christina has, I mean,
a long torso.
She has a long torso. She has these amazing arms.
Yeah, like a small waist.
A small waist. But she, like, I work with people on what's going to make them feel the most beautiful and confident and show their best assets. Not every woman loves their arms.
Right.
One of the number one complaints I get from women is their arms. They want to cover them. They want a shawl. They want a 3/4 sleeve or a long sleeve, even when it's hot, because they don't want to show their arms.
Right.
Some women hate their legs. I have a thing about knees. Like, I don't show my knees.
Oh, that's why.
I saw this comedian and he said that knees look like angry baby faces, and I can't ever unsee
I can't unsee it. My knees out there.
Now when you look
they're
at
like
pictures,
framed.
It's like they look like they have two eyes and like a head.
I'm looking at it in the camera.
And now I
That's funny.
see it, but also
Oh,
my knees are showing, and my job requires me to get low and bend and do different things, and I don't need everybody seeing my hoo-ha. So
correct.
I mean,
yeah. And you look great in a pencil
and that's what fits my body.
silhouette. Yeah.
I look
the
at
pencil skirt.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love, like, I have my style, and I've gotten shamed for my style too. I have people like, why do you always wear black? I have previous friends who would like be like, you need to wear a different shoe, and why do you always wear black? And like try to get me to be outside of my comfort level while they could do what they wanted. But because that was me, and it was kind of mocked sometimes, and I just like, and I didn't realize it at the time, and I know they didn't have any bad intent, but it just was like, why is what I'm doing not okay? Okay, black is classic. It's timeless. It's slimming. I work in makeup.
You're on your
styling.
feet
I'm
too.
on my feet all day long. I also worked in beauty, which required you to wear black for over 20 years. So it's primarily my wardrobe. As a stylist now, I do wear pops of color, but primarily I usually wear black. I wear red. I wore red gowns to the gala. And it was just like,
I know, it's like, oh, color, but not in a bad way. It's just unexpected.
So it's like, and
you get to be unexpected at times.
Yeah, now I can I can do a little shock and awe sometimes.
I love that.
The dress that I bought that I told you was a 10 is all white.
Oh,
and it's a very pretty woman dress. One of the models was wearing it for an event that I hosted, and I was like, I need that. Looks totally different on me than her, but, but that's okay.
Do you remember when I was going to the leukemia? I was going to the event. This was prior when you ran to the LLS gala. Yeah. I came and you did my makeup, and I'm like, I need a dress. And we just walked into Macy's, and I'm like, this one will do. Do you remember that? And it fit me like a glove. Yeah. It was white. That's why I was thinking that.
We think too hard on things sometimes. And my job, I'm a Fifth Avenue Club consultant at Saks. So a lot of people don't understand what my role is. So I have my own private suite in the store where I dress and style my clients. A lot of them don't like shopping because they hate trying on clothes.
Right.
And it's because they're ordering online, returning because nothing fits. Ordering online, returning because when you come see someone like myself who's specializes in what's going to look good and fit you, there's no guessing anymore. Right. I have the room filled with things curated for that client. If I know ahead of time, they're not having to walk the whole store. When I have celebrity clients, athletes, like they can come in and out. No one sees them. No one wants to take their picture. No one needs to know they were there, what they bought. Right. It's privacy. I love having that privacy with my clients. An assistant who helps me. It's a luxury experience. They can get champagne. We serve them coffee, Perrier, love it. It's a whole experience and a whole vibe. And it's different than going to a store yourself, grabbing 10 pairs of jeans, going to a fitting room, having a mental breakdown, leaving disappointed. Right. And then going to another store and doing the same thing over and over again. It's insanity, right? Right. So for me, if I can alleviate that, and I have a lot of clients who are like, I love shopping now. They actually don't even have to go to the store to shop. They can shop their closet because I help them curate their closet and get rid of all the things that don't work and add the pieces that were missing. And then they know exactly what to wear and what to wear it with. And they're not wasteful because a lot of the husbands are like, you don't need clothes. You have so many clothes. Right. why do you need new clothes? It's because sometimes 70% of what's in the closet, people don't wear.
Oh, 1,000.
Literally, if not more of a higher percentage.
Yeah.
And so when you eliminate that, all the chaos and clutter, it's like having a Tupperware drawer. I have no
Great
lid.
example. Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I have to use those as examples.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a Tupperware drawer and you don't use any of the pieces because they're broken, cracked.
You don't have the lid.
You don't have the lid.
Yeah.
And
Or you don't have the
and then we don't want to do
container.
plastic anymore. It's
Right.
obviously glass. Good gosh. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I switched out my pans years ago and all
Yep,
stainless
so did
steel,
we.
no more plastic. Like
Mm-hmm.
all these things that we grew up being told that were safe and okay for us. Now we're finding out that are not. So it's like, I'm like, why are we having wasteful things?
Mm-hmm.
But people also put stuff in their closets.
Listen, if you looked at my closet, you'd be like, where are you going to wear this to? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I might wear it to this luau.
I'll wear it someday. So those are the things that you take off of hangers, put in boxes and label and put them on.
Label them someday.
I have like a beach.
Love that.
Like when I'm at like a vacation. One.
Yeah.
And that's where my cover-ups and bikinis and things like that are. And so then when it's time to pack,
Right.
you're not going.
Mine are in a box.
It's all ready to go.
Yep. No, I have that for like snow, beach.
Yes.
You know what I've done recently is the rental.
Oh yeah, Rent the Runway.
Yeah, I use Newly because they have some of the better brands. And I just thought, I keep purchasing things because I'm a one time, especially if it's like a print. I don't like to wear it often.
Right.
Like if I wear a lot of solids that are kind of revolving in my closet, but when I wear a print, I just feel like I can only wear it so many times. So why purchase it? And I just recently got back into that. I used to do it when I was in sales and, just rent dresses, and it was great. But I thought now I'm like, well, I'm doing new segments and podcasts, and then we have vacations, and like we're leaving today to go to LA, and I have these 4 little jumpers that I purchased for this weekend, and it's great. Not all of them fit. That's the only bad thing is they're all different brands.
You're actually investing in pieces you're keeping. When I tell my client it needs to be multi-purpose.
Right.
And like when I wear prints, it's usually a blouse that I can then wear with a black skirt or a slack. But then I have dresses like the one I wore in Miami with yellow roses that everybody loves.
Yeah.
That, I can't wear all the time.
Right.
It's very print, and it's also a designer dress that I just won't wear all the time. I bought it for a special occasion, and I loved it and I had to have it. So there's pieces that you love and you have to have, and you feel really good in it. Those are the pieces you invest in.
Right.
The other things you can borrow, rent, get at Nordstrom Rack.
Right.
I always tell my clients, not every single thing you wear needs to come from Saks.
Listen, that I have been one of the best dressed people in the room, and I've bought it at Christown Mall at one of those little the Q store or
The
like
XI?
Rainbow XI. Listen, and people are like, where did you get that dress? I'm like,
That's
Christown
where I
Mall.
used to shop when I worked at MAC.
Right.
Because all I could afford was
the one on Deer Valley.
all I could afford was XI and Forever 21
Mhm.
back in the day. And so I know what it's like to be on a budget.
But you make that shit
still
look
have to-
good.
and have to look the parts. And I go to, a lot of events.
Yes.
I wear a lot of gowns, and I've been strategic on what I buy and invest in, what I rent, what I borrow.
Yeah, it's so smart.
Yeah. You have to, that way you can spend the money on the things that you really, really, really want and that are timeless and they last forever.
Yeah, I love that. I want to talk about, because I think of certain people who maybe are in a body they don't feel confident in, and then they tend to dress in a way that only emphasizes the body composition they're currently in, when there's things you can do. I always think of like creating a waist and like different little things like that to make you, no matter what size you're in, to feel more confident. Do you have any like little tips like that for someone maybe in a larger body that's not feeling great? Like what are small things they can do?
Most of the time it's denim and undergarments. Like people don't know the power of wearing the right bra.
Yeah, I don't.
Like if you're not wearing the right bra, it can really make things not fit you correctly. Like a lot of my clients, I'm like, you have the wrong bra on. If you had a different bra on, this dress would zip up.
Oh,
sometimes you don't need a bra too. Sometimes there's naked wardrobes, boob tape.
Sometimes you're fit as fuck and nothing goes over your lats.
Yes.
You can't wear a bra.
I have a friend who's also a client, and she's like, I've been working out and doing a lot, and now nothing's zipping up because of her lats and her back. And it's just you're gaining muscle. So it's like then they're upset they have to go up a size sometimes. And I'm like, but that's what comes with it. It's the consequence that comes with what you're wanting, right?
Right.
And it's just a size.
Right.
And if you want the things to still fit you that you had, then lay off the weight on that area.
Right.
I guess.
Well, I just remember being a kid, like I would always went up on denim shorts because I didn't like them to squeeze my legs. Yeah. So that was actually something I chose on myself that I think now I don't worry about size because of that, because it was comfortable.
But to your point is people need to see a stylist. And like what I do is I'm like, okay, you need a high-waisted jean. You need one not as long. We alter too. We have alterations. So it's like making it so it fits your body, because it's not one size fits all. No. My car is full of clothes right now. I literally have like 15 pairs of jeans in there and 2 dresses, and I'm taking to my friend Mary, who is a tailor. And I send a lot of people to her when my alterations department at Saks can't help. And I'm going to have her, I have all these jeans that I don't wear. And you know why? Because they're too long. Yeah. Or I have to wear a heel with them. But you know what? I want to wear like a sneaker or a flat with them. Right. So I never wear them because how often do you wear jeans with heels? Right. I mean I do, but I want to be able to wear them more casually. So I went through my closet and I'm like, okay, I need to fix these so then I can wear them more because I invested in them. But most of the time people don't want to invest in what they need. Right. They'll put more money into changing their bodies and doing all these excessive things when they actually can find a lot of confidence in they're usually undergarments and the wrong size. So they'll be like, I want a size small shirt, but maybe you need a medium, and then it's not going to come undone here, or or the shoulders are going to flay differently, or the sleeves going to be a lot, like it's just about, and everything fits different. And then what the fabric is. Are you washing and drying it, or are you dry cleaning it? Because then the knot's going to be smaller if you do wash and dry it, you're not supposed to. So it's like all those little things that I know that people don't think about. I love this because I think of my clients. Like I had a client send me a photo of her and she's like, I just look at me. I look so terrible. And I made a joke. I go, what do you think I'm going to say to you right now? She's like, that it's, and she said something. I go, no, you just need to learn how to pose. Like, Sometimes it is the pose. Sometimes it's like, sometimes it's down, you get a double chin. You're like, but even then, like, or maybe we just need to learn to dress for our body. And I had this conversation with someone who is political here in the Valley. And, she sent me a photo because she's like, not necessarily bathing suit confident, but had this opportunity with my daughter, and her bathing suit was adorable. It was perfect for her body. Yeah. Like she, it was stylish. She looked confident in it. And we talked about that. Like she found that fit. Yeah. It was like a one piece that had a little cutout and a like tie right here. And it was beautiful on her. And then she started talking to me. She goes, it's crazy. We were talking last week about this size that I feel confident in. And she goes, I was thinking about it. I walk into these rooms because I'm intelligent. Yeah. Because I know what I'm talking about. And I just realized for so long I was thinking, no, I'm confident if I'm in this size 6. And she just had that aha moment. It was beautiful. And I said, and we joked, I go, how many thin people do you know are fucking idiots? And she goes, a lot. I go, exactly, And so there's 2 sides there. Confidence, they say, is the sexiest thing a woman can wear. And when you're confident, you attract confidence. Right. And I used to walk into rooms. I remember I was invited to an event, and it was a luncheon, and it was with someone that that I used to be friends with. And and I got there, never went to a luncheon like that before. I think it was at the Biltmore too. And I just started working at Saks. And I was in a black pencil skirt and just a cute blouse. I thought I looked decent, but everybody was overly, even more dressed up. So I felt underdressed, but I didn't know the dress code. I was just invited. Right. I got there early, so I was part of all the mingle. Didn't know anyone hardly there. And I just remember feeling so like insecure and not confident. And I had my head high, pretending to be on my phone. I just kind of like walked around like I was looking at auction items or whatever it was. Yeah. And then I get to the table and she texts me that she can't make it. Oh. So I'm sitting at this table, and it's a table of 10, and there's an empty seat next to me. And everybody there, no one was talking to me, not even acknowledging that I was there. So I was trying to like figure out how I could jump in the conversation or introduce myself. There was no interest. And at one of the point, one of the ladies like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Who are you with?" Like basically like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I was invited by so and so. She couldn't make it." And they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I was like, "I'm a makeup artist and stylist." And they're like, "Oh, so anyways," and they just kept talking and the whole time pretend I wasn't there.
Wow.
And I was just sitting there eating. And so like, I left like as soon as I could.
Yeah.
Just left. There was not one picture. I'm like, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I'm like, I'm never going to have that experience again. I'm not going to allow myself to feel that way again. I'm going to make sure that if I go to something, it's purposeful. That if I don't know anyone there, I'm going to go in there and act like I know everybody there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make friends. And now I do.
Yeah.
Like it's actually very refreshing now when I go to an event and I don't know most of the people there.
Right.
Because it's a small town and a lot of us who are philanthropists and go to all these events and support the charities, we all know each other. And a lot of them most of them are so lovely. A lot of them have become dear friends and clients too. And so it's like we get to play catch up. It's almost like
it's like your time to like spend with them.
But we're also supporting a right cause. So I know how that feels, and I don't ever want someone to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like my thing is that you'd rather be overdressed than underdressed. You'd rather stand out than blend in.
And remember who the fuck you are is what I say.
Remember who you are and know your worth. And God, it took me forever to figure that out, and I'm still almost 50 years old, and none of us have it all figured out. And when I tell these young girls who look up to me because they hear me speak or they follow me and they think my life is so glamorous and so perfect, but then when they find out my story and like what I've been through, they're just like, holy cow.
Right.
And then they start opening up and then they feel more confident. And when I did my podcast with Carrie Pena about my mom and more deep into my childhood, I was so scared afterwards. Like, are people going to judge me and think I'm damaged and broken? Or I didn't even mean to say some of the things that just came out. But with her, she's a friend and I trust her like I do you. And I wasn't planning on talking about the sexual assault that happened when I was a kid. Like, I never really put that out there publicly.
Yeah.
But it just came out. And then I remember afterwards, it's like, oh my God, do I really want everybody to know this? Like, do I really want everybody? Like, sometimes there's things that are private, there's things, but then at the same time, like, how many people am I going to help by sharing this? And I had so many friends and clients and friends from the past be like, oh my gosh, I did not know that. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have known. I could have been there for you. Or I'm going through this now. Or I went through this and you inspired me. And in that, if I can make them feel better about sharing their story, because some of them haven't even told their spouses,
right?
Or their friends don't know. So it's very empowering to not be ashamed of where you came from and what you've overcome, more than just to be like, yeah, I did that. Went through that, survived it.
Right.
Nothing can touch me now.
Exactly.
Like, I really feel like nothing can really shake. I feel like pretty much every bad thing that could happen. I don't want to say nothing because God, please.
Need a break here.
But I worked really hard to have the life that I have.
And just like we said in the beginning, everything from the past and all the hardships and the traumas are what paved the way for you to become the woman you are today.
Yeah.
And for those young girls those people who heard this story or you share your story with, it shows them like, you are not broken. You are not damaged.
Yeah.
The shame that you feel should be what they should feel, the perpetrators, the people who hurt you.
Yeah.
You're holding on to it. It's not yours. So we let that go and we figure out who you are and build strengths off of those traumas. And you're a perfect example of that, and it's wonderful. We didn't even talk about, Lisa is the head makeup artist for the Arizona Cardinals cheerleaders. Also, she worked with the Arizona Rattlers. And that's such a wonderful, I mean, like you said, you wanted to do it and now
We have
you're
a
the
photo
gal.
shoot this weekend.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
Well, is this your 9th year with the Rattlers? 10th year with the Rattlers?
Rattlers, this is my 16th season.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Because we were talking about you could have a daughter.
I know. And with Cardinals, I want to say this is my 7th season being their key makeup artist. And yeah, full circle moment. That's what I wanted to do. And
So
now
many
I get to
things.
work with these girls, and Angie, the coach, who I actually went to high school with,
Right.
is an amazing, wonderful human being and a great mentor to them. It's been nothing but an amazing experience being there. So I'm their makeup artist. You know, they know the look, we teach it. They have to be responsible for themselves. I'm just there to make sure if they need me, I'm there. And you know,
It's like you can guide them.
and I've inspired some of them to be makeup artists.
Love
And one of them's helping on the photo shoot this following weekend.
Amazing.
Having her help do the Make Cardinals cheerleaders photo shoot and helping her build her kit. And there's another cheerleader on Sidewinders who is getting into makeup, and having lunch with her next week. And I'm giving her stuff out of my kit to get her started, to kind of like, kind of feel like I'm handing the torch right now over in some regard. And I love that I get to do that in the ways that people did for me, but differently. It's weird to be in a place where people look up to you. It's weird to me sometimes when, like, I had a lady who runs a dermatology center come up to me at an event a few months ago, and she was with her husband. She's like, "Oh my God, it's you."
Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm following and I love you." She's like, "I messaged you, but you never messaged me back. I offered you a free this, and I heard your story, and I watched your podcast, and I just love you. And I'm so glad I got to meet you. I was hoping you'd be here." And she's literally like almost in tears, and her husband just got this like look on his face, and I'm just like hugging her, and I was just like, wow. Like, you just never know who's watching, listening, and inspiring, even on the days where I'm like, do people really care about me?
They do.
And what I do and why I do it. And I really I hope to God, like, all the things that I could do show the genuineness of why I do it. It's not for show. It's not to say I'm doing it.
Right.
You know, I'm not a housewife, like we
Right.
who, you know, is sitting at home and bored and just going to these events just to go.
Right.
Like, they're very purposeful for me and the cause. And so then when I run into these people like her, and now I've seen her like 3 times. She's at the LLS gala, and she's just so lovely. And now she's doing TV appearances, and I'm messaging her, and
That's awesome.
I've referred her to many people. So it's just like, you just never know who's listening and watching, and how you can inspire them, and then how they inspire you too.
Right.
Like, that's what life is about. Like, when we met,
we were just 2 little hood rats in Glendale.
Yeah. And I mean, you just never know what friends are gonna come and go. And like I tell my daughters, life is just, you know, you make mistakes, you learn from them, just don't make the bad ones. Or people come in your life when they're meant to, and they leave your life when they're meant to. And I saw this quote, and it said, if they want to be in your life, you know, the door's open. If they want to leave your life, the door's open. Just one request, don't block the traffic.
I love that. I love that.
I was like, that is so true. You want out of my life? It's like the whole let them now. It kind of reminds me of that. If you don't want to be in my life, cool. You don't like me? Sorry. You're missing out.
You really are. You're missing out. Correct. No, I agree. And also just the growth, you know, as we get older, you know, there's a version of me that was, when we met, was not my best version of myself because I had not done my own work. And it shows you the people who saw your worth. So like Janet and like the Leah, they saw your worth. You didn't even see it at that moment. And I feel like people like you and our other friends that are still around from that time are people who saw my worth. The ones who are not were actually a part of my hurt. And they, you know, they were those codependent relationships that lived in my insecurity and kept my insecurities going. And, you know, over time, you're going to lose people. And I honestly think it's usually a sign of growth.
Well, they were meant to be in your life during that time for lessons.
Right.
Like I said earlier with my ex-husband, like his family were in my life, and I don't know what my life would have been if I didn't have someone like him say, you can stay here.
Right.
And those friendships taught you lessons about yourself and what you're willing and not willing to put up with. And it makes us stronger.
And even some of them were a part of my rock bottom.
I know.
You know, and it's like, thanks. Because that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
We need breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we come back together.
All right. If she's referring to something, I've talked about it after.
You know, it's okay. Sometimes we just need pause to appreciate what and who we have in our life. And it's like friendships like ours, like we can go a year if we need without seeing each other.
Right.
Which we try not to, but it
right.
has happened.
I was out of town for 16 months.
You decided to travel the world and
you know, no big deal.
Red line. I was like, what? Good for you. But you can pick back up and it's like no time has passed.
Right.
And those are the friendships that I hold on to. People who you just get it. Like, and we're getting older, life happens. We all have our own lives, we're busy with our jobs, businesses, dogs, kids, like whatever it is. Like I had my kids early. So a lot of my friends now are like, their kids are still like starting junior high.
Right.
Or high school, or mine have, grad. And so it's a different,
different dynamic,
different stages.
Yeah. But
I'm like,
we're still here.
How do I have it?
We're still here.
21, almost 24-year-old. I don't know.
I know. It's crazy. Cause again, like you would never guess, and they, like you said, people think that they're your sisters.
I'll take that as long as I can. I don't think I have much more time.
Stop saying that.
Well,
get your mind right.
Like,
I love this photo, by the way, of your photo that you sent over. Okay. Real quick before we end, I like to do a mindset moment, little rapid fire question. So I know, how do you define true inner confidence?
Just being true to yourself. Like, not trying to be someone you're not.
Yeah.
I spent too many years trying to prove myself that it was very damaging to me because I felt like I could never live up to someone else's expectation.
Yep.
And I always, unfortunately, been in past relationships where I was made to feel like I wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't beautiful enough. And now I'm like, I really don't care what you think.
Right. Because I know I'm enough.
I know I'm enough now. My self-worth is different. And some people find that as being conceited or overly confident because I've been told, well, because what you do, I thought you were going to be a bitch.
Right.
Or because of being a makeup artist, you must be stuck up. You must be full of yourself. You work at Chanel. Oh, you're high maintenance.
Right.
I've had people be like, you must be like, you where you work, you got to be high maintenance. And I'm like, I am the least high maintenance person.
It's insane that people would think that.
But it's the perception. So with that, I would say, just being true to yourself. Like, I'm not trying to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And when people meet me in person and they say to me, you look like your pictures. You are who you say you are. You're nice. You are the person you're portraying on social media. That is such a huge compliment to me because how many people have you met? I know I've met, and I know a lot of people who are on social media who are very influential, and they're not as kind.
No,
in person,
they're not as kind, or their
perception of what they're putting out on social media is not who they really are.
Oh yeah.
And I've been there. We've all been there. So those are just the lessons that I learned for myself is I just don't want to do that anymore. It's too much work. And
yeah, no, I agree. And like you said, I mean, eventually that's going to burn out because you're really trying to like please everyone else, or at least your perception of it.
Pleaser.
Right. Exactly. And that burns out. And that's when a lot of really poor behaviors tend to come in to like put out that burn, as I say. Okay. What's one way that you quiet the noise in your mind?
That is really hard for me. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time doing that because it's always like, I feel like my mind's a hamster wheel and it's spinning. And when it stops, I get worried because I've had to hustle my whole life.
You're comfortable in the chaos.
I'm more comfortable in the chaos. My life has been nothing but chaos. I've never not had chaos.
Right.
I don't even know what that looks like or what that would be like for me. And it took me a long time to realize that. I have a hard time staying still. Even Jason, my fiance, will be like, can you just sit still? And I can't even like sometimes just sit there on my way.
Yeah.
Like I'm like on my phone working, responding to an email. I have set more boundaries. So I turn my phone off now. I don't check it right when I wake up. I don't post hardly as much on social. Like I'm not on it scrolling anymore.
You don't need to be.
I just post here and there. And honestly, that helped all the stuff on there. And it's just being not
being intentional, like the choices you make everywhere else.
Everything I'm doing every day, all day long, all the time, what I'm eating, where I'm at. Like, I mean, some people do care about that stuff and they're like, oh my God, you haven't posted. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just really trying to like live my life. And honestly, that quiet time is when I'm with my family.
Right.
And I don't post a lot about my relationship. I rarely post my kids because of the world we live in is crazy. There's a lot of predators out there.
Right.
Because I have people who are like, do you ever spend time with your kids? Do you ever sleep? And I'm like, I sleep.
If you're listening to this, leave my friend alone. I'll come at you.
I get asked all the time, do you ever sleep? Because they see how busy I am. And then like, do you spend time with your family? And I'm like, I don't post my time with my family because that is all I have that is private.
Right.
Not everybody needs to know about my relationship. I don't put my relationship out there. I'll post pictures of us like on a vacation. Or here and there, but it's not like constant.
Right.
And like my daughters, it's Mother's Day, their birthdays. Certain things here and there, pictures of them when we're doing things, but I don't post every vacation. I don't post every moment of everything we're doing.
Right.
And so sometimes I feel like I get judged for that too. And I'm like, trust me, my kids mean the world to me, and my life is my children. And anybody who knows me knows that.
Yeah. No, I love it.
That's my quiet.
No, and just that awareness of needing to set boundaries and awareness that your mind is spiraling, like you're bringing the subconscious conscious, which is
I'm not thinking about what I need to post.
Yeah.
Which is great. Because I'm just enjoying that moment and trying to really live in the moment more versus worrying about recording everything and taking pictures. And there's times like, God, I wish I would have taken some more pictures.
But you've got them in here.
They're in my head.
Right. What's one change you'd like to see the wellness fitness industry make?
Oh gosh. I feel like there's been a lot of change, and there's people like you who are focusing on the right things.
Thank you.
I just wish social media, the AI is what's killing me right now. I don't know why, but every time I open up my Instagram, the algorithm, it's all AI.
Yeah.
And it's these images of men and women and young kids dressed up. Like, it's just weird to me. Like, I just want realness. I just want realness. Like, I'm like, why does everything have to be so overly polished and perfected, like we were talking about, and fake? And the fitness world, I feel like sometimes a lot of these influencers, when they're posting workouts, it's not what is going to work for everybody.
Right.
And unfortunately, people watch a video, whether it be makeup or fitness. So like, if I do that, I'm going to look like that.
Right.
I had a friend who was selling isogenics years ago. Well, I wouldn't even really call her a friend. She wanted me to promote isogenics for her and say I was taking it. And that's why I had a flat stomach and why I was like fit. And I'm like, no, I eat healthy.
Right.
I take care of myself. I'm not in the gym like I used to be. I need to get back into a routine. That's one thing I'm working on, is starting to take care of myself physically more. But she had surgery, had a tummy tuck and all this stuff done, and was posting that these things she was working out and doing is why she had it.
Right.
So there's a lot of misperception of why people have the body they have. There's a lot of things that they're doing to make their bodies look that way.
Correct.
It's not just the diet and exercise. So just be more transparent, I would say, with those people.
Yeah. We'd even jump into like, Lisa was like behind, like backstage in some of these like fitness competitions and used to tell me the stories. So you'll have to come back and share. Tell people where they can find you if they'd like to work with you. And then obviously socials, if you want to drop it.
Best way to get a hold of me would be to email me. And it's lisamoorebeauty@gmail.com. So 2 M's, 2 O's.
Yeah. I made that mistake.
They can also get my cell phone from you if they would like to text me to book an appointment. I do work by appointment, so I would need a heads up on when you want to come in. So if you have lost weight, gain weight, life change, job change, retirement. Like
you just want to feel good in your freaking
you wanna feel
clothes.
good in your freaking clothes,
Yeah.
and you want to come to someone who has no judgment and nothing but love for you, and to make sure you get what you need and want. Just reach out to me. Instagram is Lisa_Moore_beauty. And yeah.
That's that.
That's
awesome. Well, I love you.
I love it.
I'm so thankful for you. This was wonderful. Like we're
We have
just
so much more to talk
I
about.
know. I want to talk about this too. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're following on YouTube, or if you're listening anywhere you listen to podcasts, hit that follow button and download if you want to not miss any of these episodes. And I'm going to leave you. We're going to leave you the same way that I leave you every episode, and reminding you this: what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye-bye. Yay.